Noon. So this has got to be Coffee with Ralph, and I'm Ralph Gilm, your host. I introduce myself each week, and this week, well, I'm the founder of Fireproof Financial Group, and I've been dealing with long-term care as a subject matter here and as part of my career for the past almost 30 years, I guess. And each week I've been trying to bring something to the table that would make you think. So I first need to begin to apologize. It's not for me, but it's for this virus scanning software. Virus Total, I guess, is a new thing out there. My calendar link, Coffee with Ralph, if I send it to you through LinkedIn, becomes a malicious site. And I can't figure out how to get it corrected. Neither can they, apparently. They're just a reporting agency, like a credit reporting agency, but I've contacted all the parties that say it's a malicious site, explained what I do, and they go, oh, okay, well, we'll take it off. But it still hasn't. So here's the deal. If you type it up in your browser, coffeewithralph.com, and that's a free 15-minute call with me. If that gets blocked or sends you, says it's a bad site, but it's not malicious, don't go there. Send me an email at ralph@fireproofmg.com. and I'll get you on my schedule. Last week I took an annual trip or semi-annual, or it's a traditional trip to the UP, Upper Peninsula, for those who aren't from Michigan, to fish for pike at a place I was introduced to by my father-in-law. While his family was young, they would venture up there at least once a year for a family vacation. There'd be 12 to 15 people there every year, and they'd stay for the week and they'd fish. Well, now none of the children go up there any longer, and in fact, many of them are deceased. So I went up to introduce a friend and my daughter's boyfriend to pike fishing. Pike fishing in the UP is a little bit different than it is down here. It's a little bit more aggressively done. But the weather was the worst possible weather for fishing I've ever seen up there. The winds were blowing 20, 25 mile an hour, creating whitecaps on a flooding, making it impossible to fish. Plus, the water was probably the lowest I've ever seen it. But what does that have to do with today's episode of Coffee with Ralph? Nothing, but everything. It brought clarity to what I really am trying to get across with this podcast. What's that? Your voice. You say, yeah, your voice. Well, as I was sitting up there with the weather and the wind being as horrible as it was, the thing that came to my mind was, what would Dad do in this situation? Let's talk about that, as I see that question appearing in many of the posts on that family caregiver support group on Facebook. Caregivers questioning whether or not it's what their loved one would want or would do. We draw up trust to speak for us when we're gone, to make sure our wishes are followed even after we pass. But we don't voice what we want in case we can no longer effectively communicate due to illness or mental deficiency. So the issue of your voice is addressed to a small degree with power of attorney. Well, what a burden to put on your family member. Talk for me when I can't, without really knowing what it is I want. That's just a real difficult place to be. So let me dive into that for just a minute by making you think. Which one of your family members know, for example, something simple like, for us men, how often do you shave? And is it electric or a straight razor? Too complicated? Well, how about this one? How about showering or going to church or meeting with friends for coffee? Who in your family knows those details of your life? Well, when in your life have you ever relied 100% on someone making all your daily life decisions for you? I can't remember a single time in my life. Even when I was laid up sick with pneumonia, I was still thinking about how to do the things I needed to do and getting them done. I'm sure of one thing. It seems like each family member think they know exactly what mom or dad want. But I can guarantee you that's farthest thing from the truth, as you can imagine. As I work to prepare this workshop that I'm for this attorney, the more I realize there's so much of our daily routine, which is habit, it becomes hard to spell out. If you think I may be exaggerating, I'm going to challenge you to begin today and record every action you take automatically. A daily routine is incredibly important to someone afflicted with Alzheimer's. Let me use me for an example. Every day I wake up without an alarm clock. Around 6 o'clock, give or take 15 minutes. I shave and I brush my teeth while I wait for the shower to warm up. I've done that since I was a teenager. Back then, it could take 10 minutes for the water to get from the basement to the second floor. So I had hot water to take a shower. So I had plenty of time to shower. Now it takes a minute or two, but I still do it because that's the way I've done it. I'll get dressed and I'll get ready for my day and I'll sit down. I'll drink a couple of cups of coffee, which, by the way, I've set up to be brewed the night before. And I'll watch the news. That started when my girls started school. So why do I do it in the summer? Because in the winter, it's just about, is there school cancellation? Because it's part of my routine. I'll eat a bowl of cereal, I'll take my meds, I'll put my shoes on, and I go to work. I've done that every day since I was a teenager. Let me use an example of something I saw that kind of bring this point to the head about how our daily routine is so important to us. When I was first getting into this industry of long-term care, I made it a point to tour a continuing care facility. You move in as an independent living facility, you go to assisted living, and they could go right into memory care without ever really leaving their apartment. And I thought that was pretty clever. So I went over to visit one that the director happened to be a new client of mine, and I asked if she would give me a tour, and she agreed. We moved into that unit, and as I was touring, I saw two women in what appeared to be the laundry room with a washer, a dryer, an ironing board, and some sheets. I noticed the dryer wasn't turning, nor was there a cord on the iron. And these two women were going after each other, calling each other names that I was stunned. I was shocked, I guess is the best way to put it. Boy, the names they were calling. Yeah, you thought they'd hate each other. And I had that chuckle. It's just like, this is kind of funny to watch, two elderly women arguing tooth and nail and calling names like, oh my goodness. She wasn't alarmed. The director wasn't alarmed. So I let it be. About 20 minutes later, we're passing by a room that had a TV on the wall and a couple little coffee tables in it. There sat the women that were just arguing like cats and dogs. Man, I was confused. just 20 minutes ago, they were ready to kill each other. Now here they are sitting, having what I think was coffee. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just brown water. But whatever it was, they were enjoying it and talking, chatting like nothing ever happened. What? Well, I'd asked about it. Obviously, it's just we went from having a cat fight there, you know, two women going after each other, cats and dogs fighting, and to being best friends and having coffee. And she explained to me that these two were sisters, never married, and that they'd lived their entire life together. And this was part of their routine. She explained to me that they tried to alter that routine because, frankly, they really weren't aware of it. And she told me that when they did, the women became angry and unresponsive. Angry to the point of being violent, she said. I thought that was pretty weird. Well, the laundry room that they were in was actually the laundry room. That was where the staff did the bedding and clothing or whatever, you know. And once a week, the staff would vacate the room. They would turn off the washer and dryer. They would replace their ironer, their iron with one without a cord on it. And they'd put an old set of sheets in the dryer. And away they'd go every week. And they continued that until they died, which they died days apart, I was told. But what's the point here? The point is nobody in their family knew that this was part of the routine. And it was actually up to the facility to figure this out. Now, had that been written out, I mean, it doesn't sound like something you would have to write out. But how much help would that have been to this facility and to their family to know that, yeah, this is what they do. This is their weekly, man. This is them. They're so connected that this is, if you take this away, it's not their daily routine. She's the one that explained to me, this director, how important the daily routine is to somebody afflicted with Alzheimer's or dementia. Back to my original point, your voice. No one in your family truly understands all the decisions, all your choices, all your preferences. So why don't you make sure you take the time, take me up on my challenge, just take one day and start listing things out. Your life, your voice. When we come to our care, shouldn't it be our voice that directs the caregiver or the facility on how to take care of us best? Listen, this has been Coffee with Ralph. Just remember one thing. Coffeewithralph.com is a free 15-minute call with me. I would love to start this conversation with you concerning your care, your planning for care, and yes, the cost of your care. I want you all to have a great week. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.